What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Monday, January 31st. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have an 8-game slate tonight, so let's take a look at the point guard position. I like Tyler Hero from the Miami Heat playing the Boston Celtics, who have a good defense overall. They've been good versus opposing point guards, and Tyler Hero has averaged 33.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 35.8 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5.8 times value. He's $6,200 DraftKings salary, $700 more on FanDuel, and Tyler Hero has scored 26, 23, and 34 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 44, 33, and 32 minutes. So I think he's playing a lot of minutes. I think he can score 30 fantasy points or more here and get you 5 times value or more. And he also does seem to play the Boston Celtics pretty well. So I like Tyler Hero here versus the Boston Celtics. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. I like Gary Trent Jr. from the Toronto Raptors playing the Atlanta Hawks, who have the 8th worst defense overall. They give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Gary Trent Jr. has averaged 29.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 34 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. He's projected at 30.5 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. He's $5,800 DraftKings salary, $200 more on FanDuel, and Gary Trent Jr. has scored 53, 40, and 42 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 55, 36, and 34 minutes. So he's playing monster minutes. He's got big upside. Salary is still low, and Gary Trent Jr. hasn't seemed to play well versus the Hawks the last 4 games. But I like the minutes that he's playing, and I think his salary and the matchup is good. So I like Gary Trent Jr. here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Now, I also like Jordan Poole from the Golden State Warriors playing the Houston Rockets, who have the worst defense overall. They give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Also eligible at the point guard position. Jordan Poole has averaged 27.8 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 25% usage rate. He's projected at 27.7 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's $5,500 DraftKings salary, $200 less on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 231 points scored in this game, and Jordan Poole has scored 33, 33, and 27 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 27, 24, and 26 minutes. So his minutes have come down just a little bit, but his production is still pretty good, and his salary is, I think that's priced just about right. So 27.7 fantasy points will get you 5 times value. I think he can score 30 fantasy points or more in this matchup. Going to be a high scoring game. So I like Jordan Poole here versus the Houston Rockets. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. Now, if you're not going to play Jordan Poole, I probably wouldn't play both of these guys in the same lineup, but one or the other, and I prefer this play here. I like Andrew Wiggins from the Golden State Warriors playing the Houston Rockets, who have the worst defense overall. They give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Andrew Wiggins has averaged 30.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 32 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 31.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.7 times value, but I think he can score 35 fantasy points or more in this matchup and get you over 5 times value. He's 6,600 DraftKings salary, and he's 600 less on FanDuel. So I love that FanDuel price. And we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 231 points scored in this game, so it's a good game to stack. And Andrew Wiggins has scored 49, 40, and 26 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, 35, and 25 minutes. So I like Andrew Wiggins here versus the Houston Rockets. Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Memphis Grizzlies playing the Philadelphia 76ers, who have a good defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing power forwards. Jaren Jackson Jr. has averaged 31.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 28 minutes per game with a 26% usage rate. He's projected at 32.9 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's 6,700 DraftKings salary, 800 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 219 points scored in this game, and Jaren Jackson Jr. has scored 29, 44, and 45 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 22, 30, and 31 minutes. So I like Jaren Jackson Jr. here versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay, moving on to the center position. Here's a stud pick for you. I like Domantas Sabonis from the Indiana Pacers playing the LA Clippers, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They're middle-of-the-pack defending opposing centers. Domantas Sabonis has averaged 44.9 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 22% usage rate. He's projected at 45.7 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 50 fantasy points or more in this one, get you 5 times value or more. He's 9,800 DraftKings salary, 100 less on FanDuel, and Domantas Sabonis has scored 54 and 70 fantasy points in the last 2 games, playing 28 and 43 minutes. And I like this pick because he scored 47, 42, 51, 57, and 43 fantasy points in his last 5 games versus the Clippers. So I like Domantas Sabonis here versus the LA Clippers. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.